Hello, this is Akshay, and this video is going to take on another type of chemical reaction called double displacement reaction. In a double displacement reaction, remember the mutual exchange of ions take place between the aqueous solutions of two ionic compounds. Means here the cations and anions switch their places. They will gonna interchange their positions. And remember, this reaction is going to take place between the two ionic compounds taken in aqueous form. Why? Because as the definition of this reaction suggests that there is gonna be a mutual exchange of ions between the two reacting species. The ions can only be formed if the ionic compound is taken in aqueous form. So in order to get the ions there so that this reaction can proceed, we need to have the reactants in the aqueous state. And that's why both the reactants, which are firstly gonna be ionic compounds, and thereafter those two ionic compounds are taken in aqueous form, and then they are gonna mix together so that this reaction can be facilitated in such a way that the mutual exchange of ions can take place. Let us see this reaction. We are gonna take on here, that is barium chloride is being treated with sodium sulfate, and let us have this reaction going. Barium chloride, and it is BaCl2 taken in aqueous state. Reason I have already mentioned why are we doing what we are doing here. Barium chloride, and it is treated with sodium sulfate, aqueous solution of sodium sulfate. Remember, both are the ionic compounds and they are taken in aqueous form, and it means they are giving ions there, and ions are required so that the mutual exchange of ion can take place, which finally resulted in the formation of new compounds there. So see there, the mechanism very simple to understand here. Yes, this barium ion and sulfate ion, they are gonna join hands together, and here sodium ion and chloride ion, they are going to get together. So in hypothetical way, you can write here, let it be A, B. This is one ionic compound taken in aqueous state, and there is another one CD, another ionic compound taken in aqueous state. And how that reaction is gonna proceed, that is, yes, A and D and C and B. Here it is cation and it is anion, and it gives you AD. And remember, this is going to be in solid state, especially in this kind of a chemical reaction here, and it is C and it is B. So it is gonna be CB, and it's gonna be in aqueous state. So that's how the mutual exchange of ions take place here. This is the cation and this is the anion. This is the anion and this is gonna be the cation. So cation and anion join hands together. It is A and D give you AD compound here, and here it is C, cation coming from here, anion from here, it will give you CB. And most clearly you can see here that is yes, barium ion going to join together with sulfate ion to give you barium sulfate, and it is BaSO4 is the chemical formula for barium sulfate. It is found to be in solid state, and small solid particles of barium sulfate are going to form here along with, yes, it is sodium, here it is sodium ion, and here it is chloride ion to give you NaCl in aqueous state. What's happening in this very chemical reaction? Remember, this is barium sulfate, and it is sodium chloride, and it is sodium sulfate, and it is barium chloride. So what is happening here in this very chemical reaction, that is the double displacement reaction, That is, during this very chemical reaction, one of the products got separated out in the form of small solid particles. And remember, those small solid particles which got separated out of the solution are known as the precipitates, and hence such a chemical reaction is also known by another name called precipitation reaction, because in such chemical reaction one of the products got separated out in the form of small solid particles, and those small solid particles are known as precipitates. And in you can say a short way we can write it as PPT, precipitates, and they are gonna tend to settle down at the bottom of a beaker or a test tube, and that's why this arrow is pointing in the downward direction, and hence this reaction is also known by another name called precipitation reaction. This is called precipitation reaction. That's the another name here for this double displacement reaction. Let us try to understand the mechanism. Very simple here to get to the depth of mechanism. Very simple. I have already marked the way this reaction is gonna proceed, but let me tell you that it is barium chloride. Obviously any compound taken in aqueous form tend to ionize, tend to dissociate to give ions. Here it is barium ion. Here it is barium ion, Ba+2 in aqueous state. It is chloride ion. It is gonna be 2 chloride ions because 2 atoms of chlorine are present here. So it will give you 2 chloride ion, 2Cl-1. It is also in aqueous state, plus sodium. 2 atoms of sodium will give you 2 sodium ions, Na positive in aqueous state, and it is sulfate ion, SO4-2 in aqueous state. And how that reaction is gonna proceed here? See here, this is barium ion and this is sulfate ion gonna join together to give you barium sulfate. So it is sulfate ion, it is barium ion. Both are going to link together to give you barium sulfate, BaSO4, and it is white in color. Yes, white precipitate, small solid particles called precipitates of barium sulfate are gonna form along with, yes, this is sodium ion and it is chloride ion. They are gonna join hands together, and it is Na positive, Cl negative, and it will give you NaCl in aqueous state. But 2 atoms of sodium ions joining together with 2 sodium ions joining with 2 chloride ions to give you 2 NaCl, sodium chloride. So that's how the mutual exchange of ions take place. This is called mutual exchange of ions, or in other words you can say that the cations and anions are going to switch their places, and that will result in the formation of the 2 brand new compounds, and such a chemical reaction is known as the double displacement reaction. And one more thing which I have mentioned a bit earlier, that is during this chemical reaction one of the products got separated out in the form of small solid particles known as precipitates, and hence such a chemical reaction is also known by another name called precipitation reaction. So that's all about the types of chemical reaction over here.